Did you know that 9 out of 10 conversations miss the mark? That means 90% of your conversations are ineffective. Now, when I first heard this, I thought, what? There's no way. And if you're anything like me, right now you may be thinking, there is no way that 90% of my conversations are unheard. I'm an amazing communicator, right? Well, sadly, research out of Stanford would say otherwise. And I wanted to know why. For the last 10 years, I've been focused on and passionate about understanding effective communication skills. Now, before I went down this path, like a lot of people, I believed I was an amazing communicator. It wasn't until I had my kids that I realized just how bad I was in conversations and the repercussions it was having on them. I learned 3 very important lessons that made me rethink how we're raising our kids and the effects that it was having on our future leaders. Now, effective communication skills are like parenting skills, and that they're skills that we are not taught. We're just magically expected to know what to do and do it well, and it can be really hard. We've all heard the saying that kids do what parents do, not what parents tell them to do. Kids are like wet cement. What lands on them makes an impression. So how parents do what they do matters. Now, this applies to all of us because we are all children of parents. We all had parents or guardians that left imprints on us and how we navigate and influence the world. For example, in emotional situations, when our backs are up against the wall, what happens? We hear our parents' voices coming out of our mouths, even when we swear we won't do it. Now, this is something that clients would confide in me, friends would confess to me, I did it, we all say we're not going to do it, and then in those emotional moments, the words would fly out uncontrollably. Now, the part that I found so interesting was that everybody said it wasn't working for them. Everybody acknowledged it wasn't working at home, it wasn't working at work, but nobody knew how to do it differently. We don't know what we don't know. And like a lot of parents, in emotional moments, I would tell my kids to calm down. I would tell my kids to listen to me. I would expect them to manage their emotions, and when they couldn't, I'd get frustrated. And then in a really unproud parenting moment when my daughter was 3, and I was yelling at her to listen to me, and I was yelling at her to calm down, she snapped back at me, I don't know how. Research shows that when parents can't control their emotions or their fears, their kids never learn to do so either. My first lesson, we repeat what we don't repair. Now, I want to have you just take a quick second and think about who in your life taught you how to manage your emotions? Who in your life taught you how to understand your emotional triggers? For most of us, we're just told to do it. We're not taught specifically how. A poll came out from the After School app saying that 45% of teens feel stressed all the time, with 35% of them doing absolutely nothing about it to manage their stress. We don't know what we don't know. But research is also showing that when we are emotionally skilled, we do better at work, we do better at school, we build happier, healthier relationships, and we're less likely to partake in unhealthy or dangerous behavior. If we want our kids, our emerging leaders, to be successful, to be healthy, to manage their emotions, to self-regulate, they must learn how, right? And as adults and as parents, we can't expect that telling them to do it is teaching them. Now, this is a picture of my son when he was 3. He used to wear a little seersucker suit and a pink tie every day to preschool. It was totally adorable and completely unpractical. I'd have to wash the suit every day before or every night before I went to bed because he was 3. And on this particular morning, I forgot to wash his pants. And like all parents, I had a busy list of things that needed to get done. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was already running late. So I'm reaching for those car keys to get in the car to take my son to preschool, when all of a sudden I see out of the corner of my eye, he has no pants on. And when I ask him about it, he says, I want my pants from yesterday. Annoyed with myself for not actually washing them, I very respectfully and very politely ask him to pick another pair of pants. I explain the situation, and he says, no, I want my pants from yesterday. So I think, okay, I'm not doing this right. I get how to do this. So I get down on my knees, and I look him in the eye, and I say, I hear you. I hear that you want your pants, but I feel like you're not hearing me. They're dirty. Can you please pick another pair of pants? We have to go. I'm high-fiving myself. I think, okay, I've nailed that. We're getting in the car, right? And I can see him turning 7 shades of purple. And he starts yelling at me, I want my pants from yesterday. Now he's hysterical. And I'm mad. We're late. And it's like this ticker tape, this freight train going through my brain about all the ways that this is going to affect my day. So I turn on my heel. I march into the laundry room. I grab the dirty pants. I come back to him. I shove him in his face. Not another not proud parenting moment. I say, here, where are your dirty pants? We got to go. He takes the pants from me, reaches into the pocket, pulls out a toy, hands me back the pants, puts on a fresh pair, and through snotty tears says, I'm ready. And I want the world to swallow me whole. Oh, you wanted your pants. You didn't want to wear your pants. So I immediately do a repair. And I say, what can I do next time so this never happens again? And he says to me, Mom, you could have just asked. And he was right. If I had taken just 1 second and stopped focusing on my needs and how it was going to affect my day, and I had focused on him and what he needed, we would have been out the door, relationship intact, drama-free, pretty much on time. My second lesson, we value our to-do list more than we do our relationships. Now, you don't need to be a parent to have an interaction like this. These kinds of conversations and interactions happen all the time in the workplace, where we're so focused on being busy, our productivity, that we don't take time to build our relationships. We get so busy checking off the boxes, fixing and solving problems, being helpful, asking what's the matter, that we forget to take a step back and ask what matters to you. We get so focused on being understood that we don't practice being understanding. Now, as parents, it's really easy to take our relationships with our kids for granted, just expecting that they're always going to be there, making it even easier to put our to-do list first. We are all busy. We all have stuff to do. One more project, and then I'll spend time with my family. Knock out those emails, just thinking that our kids are always going to be there. But will they? A national survey through Highlight magazine said that 62% of kids aged 6 to 12 said their parents were distracted when speaking with them. And then as parents, we wonder why our kids are distracted and they don't talk to us and they don't listen to us. The truth is that how we build relationships is by interacting and observing our relationships with our parents. The most successful people in the world, the most successful business people, credit their ability to build relationships. If we want our kids to have healthy relationships, personally and professionally, if we want to have healthy relationships personally and professionally, then we must start putting more value on being rather than doing. Now, my third lesson happened in a playground, and this is what I like to call the algorithm effect. We all have social media feeds, okay? So think of your social media feed. It's very beautiful, feels comfortable, it's carefully curated of all the things that we know, like, and trust. And every once in a while, something different or scary or challenging pops into our feed, and what do? We unlike, we unfollow, or we block. Right? We just cut it out of our lives and we go on with our day. This is actually now happening in real life. When kids get into conflict or they're emotional, they have a difference of opinion, their feelings get hurt, it's now not uncommon for parents and teachers to say, just ignore them. Walk away. Find new friends. We are unfriending, unfollowing, and blocking in real life. We are basically teaching our kids to cut out anything that is different, challenging, or remotely scary from their lives. And rather than sit in it and work through it or understand it, we just cut it out and pretend like it didn't even happen. Now, this is also not just happening on playgrounds. This is absolutely happening in work, and it's happening at home with family and friends. What's important to understand is conflict is not bad. Different perspectives are not bad. We actually need them in our relationships to be successful, personally and professionally. It's how we grow. It's how we learn. It's how we innovate. It's how we collaborate. Conflict is never the issue. How we deal with conflict is what causes the issues. Now, I am not anti-technology, but I am pro-conversation. And remember, we are in a conversation crisis. 90% of our conversations are ineffective. Every time we teach our kids to unlike, unfollow, and block, we are robbing them of the most essential skills they need to succeed, basic communication skills, negotiation skills, resilience, empathy, compassion. These are not just buzzwords, these soft skills. These are actual skills we must learn, develop, and practice. And to say that we just need to have more conversations, it's not good enough, because the truth is, we don't know how, especially in challenging moments. There was a recent report from CPP that said 85% of employees deal with conflict on some level. Conflict resolution is not a part of our core curriculum in education, which means the majority of adults are going into the workforce with little to no understanding or skill on how to deal with challenging conversations. The same report said 70% of people agreed that managing conflict was critical to effective leadership. Playgrounds are where we practice the skills that we do in the workplace. If we want our kids, our emerging leaders, to be able to have challenging conversations, to be able to understand different perspectives, to be resilient, have empathy and compassion, we must teach them to step into conflict and work through it, not ignore it, not hide from it, not run from it. Now, the truth is, parents are the most powerful influences in their children's lives, more than TV, more than celebrities, even more than their friends. If we want to achieve the change that we so desperately need, 90% of our conversations must be effective. So I leave you with this question to consider and act upon. What if we stop telling our kids to be the change they need, or we need, and start modeling it for them? If we don't show them, how are they ever going to learn? Thank you.